The Sonic Racing Crossworlds closed network test, man it's a mouthful, was amazing and more chaotic than expected. But that word though, chaotic, that's the word that everyone keeps using to describe this game, and it's so true. There is so much going on every time you enter a race, and before you know it, the race is over. This is truly the fastest Sonic racing game that we have ever gotten. In this video, I'm going to go over the issues that I've ran into, the things that I've enjoyed, and the feedback that I have for this game to prosper. So, let's dive on in. Let's start with the issues I found. Quick little ThatSonicGamer lore drop. I work as a QA tester for video games. So looking for bugs and writing up reports for them is my daily grind. So playing this beta was an average workday for me. A fun workday though. So let me show you what I found. Number 1. Player is stuck in the crossed world when attempting to traverse worlds on Roulette Road. Now I say Roulette Road specifically because this only happened to me on the Roulette World crossed world. I was told that many people were running into this issue on different tracks, and man, this is a high severity bug. I was unable to continue the race until a significant time has passed, and the game said, "You're too slow, let's warp you back into the race." Now, that's a nice way to save the player from this issue, but it's an issue that shouldn't be happening in the first place. Because if it happens in the first place, then you'll end up in last place. Get it? Next bug is, the title would lose connection via timeout while loading into matchmaking. Numerous times for me and other players, the game would time out after a long load time. This is admittedly expected during a beta such as this, but I'm hoping this won't make its way until a full game release. Matchmaking properly is expected in online games, and if it becomes a gamble whether or not the player can actually race, that makes the online experience undesirable to say the least. Up next is, attacks on machines are not registering. In Sonic Racing Crossworlds, enemy player vehicles are referred to as machines. My guess is because they can't say cars because EX gear exists, and they ain't cars or vehicles, so machines I guess. There would be times where my attack would not register the hit, and the player that I tried to hit would just keep on moving at the same speed that they were already going at, like as if my attack never landed on them. Now this is a high impact bug due to the fact that this game is very item dependent. If your item fails to register a hit on someone, then that would be the deciding factor of whether or not someone wins the race. That's major and deserves high priority in getting fixed. Final bug I found is the screen would turn blue for a prolonged period of time when the player's warp ring fails to lock onto an opponent. During my stream, my chat told me that this blue screen was very blinding for them, and it happened to them during their time with the game as well. It makes it hard for players to see what else is happening around them in this race as well. This is definitely a bad bug. You don't want an unexpected bright light to surprise the player and obscure their view of the race. That's what the slime item's for. So those are all the bugs that I found in the beta. Feel free to comment more bugs that you may have found during your time. I have a feeling Sonic Team's going to be looking at all the content related to this beta to see what players ran into, so the more info the better. Now, let's move on to what I enjoyed in the game. The customization of the machines are so interesting. It's very noticeable that they are holding back a lot of options, and they only want to give a taste of what potential this feature has for this game. I was able to make a number of cool looking vehicles, but more importantly, the stats? Oh boy! Oh, now each character has their own base stats, and the machines that they ride in are what add on to those stats. This opened up a whole plethora of options for me to dive into and explore to see not only what vehicle customizations suit me, but also what characters as well. I eventually settled on 3 characters, Sonic, Amy, and Omega. I found myself favoring a speed type vehicle for Sonic and a handling type for Amy and Omega. There was only one type that wasn't available in the beta, and we all know what it is, the boost type, which is EX gear. Oh yeah, this is happening. Next point I want to focus on is the speed of each race. As I mentioned before, this is the fastest Sonic racing game ever. What I mean by that is that the speed at which you race. Obviously, Sonic R has the shortest track length, but we're talking speed, son. We talking speed. It feels so good to be driving so fast. Truly feels like a Sonic racing game that outperforms all the others. The tracks also felt like they were all a good length too. Not too long, not too short. They got it just right. This is the Goldilocks of Sonic racing games. Next is the Crossworlds feature. Dude, I lived up to my promise in this beta and chose the world so many times. I told you guys, I'm choosing the dang world we go to. I told you. It felt great being rewarded being in first. I was surprised to see Sky World appear as a crossworld. It makes me wonder if this means it won't be an actual full track that you can select and it's just a crossworld, or maybe crossworlds can become actual full tracks that you can choose later on in the game. Who knows? Who knows? My favorite crossworld though would have to be Roulette Road. It felt extremely fast, and then the turns felt like it was just a huge chance to pass up a lot of players. So like with that handling type and getting those turns just right, oh, it felt good, man. It felt so good. And then, then there's Frenzy. Frenzy, dude! Oh my god, I love Frenzy. Frenzy time's freaking crazy, man. Randomly, you'll see that one of 2 crossroads will have a green emblem on them. That means that crossroad will have a Frenzy in it. One of 2 things will happen when a Frenzy occurs. A bunch of boost rings show up on the track, or your drifting gets charged up to level 4 extremely fast. My favorite would have to be the drifting. It charges up so very fast. A master drifter like myself takes advantage of this on land, water, and air. Also, it took me a while to realize, but the entirety of lap 2 takes place in a crossworld. It's pretty neat that this happens. It keeps the players on their toes and forces them to adapt to the environment for a while. I love the crossworlds part of Crossworlds, if you haven't noticed already. Probably my most favorite feature in this game, which honestly, that means they freaking knocked it out of the ballpark for this one then. Sonic Racing Crossworlds, it's in the name, you know, their biggest feature is my favorite. That's a win in my book. Final thing I want to praise is the emotes that you can do while you're waiting in a lobby. They're cute, fun, and the art style is so unique to the series. Each character having their own pictures and emotes in this style is great to see, and it makes me very excited to see what all the other characters will have. Like, I'm really curious to see Silver's emotes. That's gonna be really fun. The fact that these emotes have so much personality in them is wild to think about. Also, one last thing, one little bonus thing that I enjoyed, the animation for the characters, pretty neat. Pretty neat. Now, it's time for feedback. I want this game to be the best it can be. So, let's talk. The items. I'm okay with the items that are in the game. They're pretty cool and unique, but the frequent placement of the item capsules are too much. The reason for the game being so chaotic is because the items can be grabbed so often. If there are only about 3 items available per lap, then it would make it much more manageable and less RNG dependent. When it comes to the final lap and you get to the final stretch, that is when the game is the true definition of chaos. And that is because of all the items being placed so close to the finish line. If it could be placed just a little farther back, then the chaos levels will lower dramatically. Because of this item problem, a good strat for winning online is to just hang back for a little bit, grab all the good items like the drill and the ATV, and then unleash them near the end. Now that's too much of an exploit in my book. If you try to just play the game like a speedy racer, which is expected, then believe it or not, you may end up in first place throughout the majority of the race, but during that final stretch, you'll easily just go back to 12th. You'll easily go to 12th. Like, it's depressing how quickly you'll go back to 12. It's almost unreal. Now, not all the items can protect you from attacks, so that's also another thing. You won't be able to defend yourself from everything. I feel as though there has to be a mode in this game, that's in the full game that is, where there's going to be no items at all. You can just race. But I want the races that have items to be in it to just have a good balance of item placements by lowering the amount available. You know, like all this chaos, like it was great for the first 5 races, but then once you're up in the high ranks, it's a little hard. it's like it's more RNG dependent than skill. It's really difficult. I ended my beta session with being an A-. I would have kept on playing, but I actually got a really bad stomach bug, but that's besides the point. But A-, like things are getting crazy in that rank. Piggybacking off the item talk, the next feedback I have is that there's not enough invincibility frames. When you get hit, you maybe get like 1.5 seconds of iframes, and then you're open to another attack. The amount of times that this happened to me when I'm in first place on the final stretch is too many to count. I kept getting comboed, and the main combo that I was getting hit with was the shuriken hitting me, and then the ATV crushing me. The classic combo. It hurt, man. It hurts so much. Please increase the iframe so we can all have a racing chance. And again, this will lower the chaos that we see in this game. My final feedback item. I don't want to lose rings when bumping into walls. I love that rings are so important in these races. I love it a lot actually. But hitting walls already hurts my speed. Don't let it hurt my ring count, which also hurts my speed more. There's not much to say other than that. Just don't let walls be a deterring factor for rings, man. Alright, it already hurts the speed, man. And that's all that I got for you guys. The Sonic Racing Crossworlds closed network test was a blast. and it felt almost arcadey when I was playing it, and I mean that in a good way. I hope someone from Sonic Team or whoever they're using for QA sees this and takes it into consideration. I'll also be linking this video into their beta survey. Again guys, please comment any bugs that you found, anything you enjoyed, and any feedback you have. It's times like this that we can help make this game better than it already is. They just need the info from me and you all. Also, I know everyone's been asking for another network test. Now, considering this game is going to be crossplay, I imagine that they will want to have another test at some point. I'm just guessing here, but using my personal QA knowledge, you gotta test out multiplayer on one console, one platform first, and once you got that figured out with minimal to no issues, then you go to the cross-play network test. PlayStation and Sega probably had some sort of deal, and maybe PlayStation has the most Sonic players, so they got the network test first. But again, that's just my guess, okay? Don't want to confirm or deny anything. You know, with this whole video with me doing the whole QA stuff, I'm really hoping that Sega's gonna be all like, you know, let's hire this man for QA. You know, he seems like good company, and you know, I'm here. Just you know, send me that email. You know, just emails on my channel. But whatever. Anyway, I hope this video helped out all of you guys to understand what the beta was like, and I hope it helps out Sonic Team in making the game as good as ever, as best as possible. Okay, I either see you guys in the next beta or in the full game. But subscribe so you can see me in the next video. That's even sooner. Bye-bye. See you later. Have an S-rank day. Stay blue.